What if I told you that growing old doesn't have to mean giving up your independence or moving into a nursing home? What if you could maintain your freedom, joy, and a full life, no matter your age? Today, I will share 6 incredible stories of people who found their own paths to continue living life on their own terms. And perhaps, their experiences will give you answers to questions you've been afraid to ask. We're about to reveal some unexpected alternatives and show you how age can be just a number, not a barrier. Let's dive into the first story. Meet Grandpa George, an energetic 85-year-old who's committed to maintaining his independence. For years, George has been known for his early morning walks, tending to his vegetable garden, and enjoying quiet afternoons with a good book. But as time went on, his health began to decline, and his family suggested that he move into a nursing home for constant care. However, Grandpa George refused to give up the life he loved. While he acknowledged his limitations, he was determined to stay in the home that had brought him so much joy. With occasional help from a caregiver and regular check-ins from family, George continued to live on his own terms. His story teaches us that independence is something to be nurtured. Age doesn't have to be a barrier to living fully. Sometimes, a little support is all we need to continue pursuing the things that make us feel most alive. Allow me to introduce you to Mrs. Rose, a retired educator in her 70s who, after decades of shaping young minds, found herself at a crossroads. Many of her peers moved to nursing homes, but Mrs. Rose wasn't ready to take that step. Instead, she made a daring decision to join a vibrant community of retirees. This community wasn't like any she'd ever imagined. It was a place that offered not just new friendships but new opportunities to reignite passions long left on the back burner. At first, her family was concerned. They didn't understand why she wanted to leave the comfort of her old neighborhood. But as the months passed, Mrs. Rose thrived in her new environment. She began teaching knitting classes, a hobby she had always enjoyed but never had time for during her teaching years. Her ability to share her talents with others gave her a new sense of purpose that she had not anticipated. Mrs. Rose's story teaches us that the right community can breathe new life into your years. By surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals, you open the door to new opportunities, purpose, and friendships. And it's not just about finding a new place, it's about finding a new reason to wake up in the morning, to keep learning, to keep giving, and to keep dreaming. Sometimes, the most fulfilling chapters of our lives come later, not despite our age, but because of it. Let me tell you about Mr. Daniel, a 92-year-old who refused to slow down. While most people his age might choose a quiet life at home, Mr. Daniel embraced his golden years as an adventurer. Alongside his daughter, he traveled the world, exploring destinations he had long dreamed of visiting. His travels weren't limited to tourist attractions. They were about immersing himself in the cultures, the history, and the life of each place. Whether strolling through the streets of London, hiking the hills of the Swiss Alps, or experiencing the ancient wonders of Egypt, Mr. Daniel didn't just mark items off a bucket list. He lived his dreams, showing us that age should never be a barrier to new experiences. His adventures were proof that it's not the years that matter. It's the moments you create within them. His story reminds us that there's always time for adventure, no matter how old you are. Age is just a number. What matters is the spirit with which you live your life. And as long as we have that spirit, the possibilities are endless. Meet Grandma Lillian, an 80-something woman who decided to embrace technology instead of retreating from it. After realizing she could no longer fully care for herself, Grandma Lillian turned to her grandchildren for help learning how to use smartphones and smart home devices to maintain her independence. With voice-activated systems, She could control the lights, lock the doors, and even adjust the thermostat, all from the comfort of her armchair. She also stayed connected to her family via video calls, making it easier than ever to participate in family gatherings and stay in touch with her loved ones. Grandma Lillian's story teaches us that technology isn't just for the young. It's an incredible tool for those seeking to maintain their independence. By embracing new technologies, you can stay engaged with the world around you, ensuring your life remains as full and active as ever. Sometimes, the most significant challenges can be overcome with something as simple as a smartphone or a tablet. These tools offer ways to stay in touch, to control aspects of your environment, and to learn new things that enrich your life in ways you may not have imagined. Let me introduce you to Mr. Harold, a passionate gardener who, at the age of 79, found that his once sprawling garden had become too much to manage. For years, Mr. Harold had lovingly cared for a vast array of flowers, vegetables, and fruit trees. But as he grew older, the physical demands of his garden became overwhelming. Instead of giving up his passion, Mr. Harold made an important change. He downsized. He transformed his large garden into a smaller, more manageable space, focusing on plants that were easier to care for. His new garden was just as beautiful as before, but with less work to maintain. Mr. Harold's story shows that aging doesn't mean abandoning what we love. It's about adapting and finding new ways to enjoy the activities that bring us joy, even if it means simplifying them. Finally, let me tell you about Mildred, an 84-year-old woman who made a surprising choice. She stayed in the home where she had lived for over 50 years. This wasn't just any house. It was the place where she had raised her children, hosted family gatherings, and built a lifetime of memories. Despite her age, Mildred couldn't imagine leaving the home that had been the heart of her family. Her children suggested a nursing home, but Mildred found a way to stay. She arranged for regular visits from her family, ensuring she had the support she needed without leaving her cherished home. Mildred's story teaches us that home is where the heart is. Sometimes, the best place to be as we age is the place where we've built our lives and created memories. Aging doesn't always mean leaving. Sometimes, it means staying connected to the place that gives us comfort and security. As we've seen in these 6 incredible stories, growing older doesn't mean giving up on joy, independence, or purpose. Whether it's adapting your lifestyle, embracing technology, or staying connected with loved ones, there are endless ways to live life on your own terms, at any age. So, what can we learn from these remarkable individuals who refuse to let age define them? These stories aren't just about surviving, they're about thriving, adapting, and discovering new ways to live a life full of purpose and joy. Whether it's maintaining a cherished routine, embracing technology, or even traveling the world, these inspiring individuals have shown us that it's never too late to reinvent yourself. The key takeaway here is that each of these individuals didn't let the idea of growing old force them into the typical narratives about aging. They found ways to turn what many consider limitations into new opportunities for growth. For them, aging wasn't about slowing down. It was about evolving, learning, and discovering what truly matters in life. They didn't just adjust their lifestyles. They completely redefined what aging could look like. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below. Take care and keep living your best life.